Hey, welcome to a live webcast from College Recruiter. I am Stephen Rothberg. I am the founder, and we believe that every student and recent graduate deserves a great career, and that it should be easy and inexpensive for employers to hire them. That's kind of our mantra, our slogan, mission statement, call it what you may. And this month, on one of these webcasts that we do most months, we're going to pretty much hit that straight on. Not the do the students and recent grads deserve a great career, but that it should be easy and inexpensive for employers to hire them. Subplot: it's May. It's different if it was February or October, but we're going to get into that. I am joined today by somebody who is new to our team, Jeanette Leeds. And Jeanette and I have known each other for, well, since we were each, I think, 23 years old, which was just a couple of years ago for you, and
Exactly
maybe
right.
5 years ago for me. And if you believe that, I've got a bridge in Brooklyn that I'd love to sell to you.
And I'm
Um,
24, so I
oh,
don't know what you're talking about.
exactly. It's great to be 24 again. So Jeanette and I are co-hosts on the High Volume Hiring podcast, which we do every couple of weeks. It's on LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, et cetera, et cetera. But Jeanette, before we dive into today's conversation, maybe you can tell people a little bit about who you are and what you're now doing at College Recruiter.
Yeah. So, hi everyone, new fresh face on this podcast. Again, as Stephen said, you may know me from our High Volume Hiring podcast. I just joined College Recruiter officially as a VP of Customer Success. I'm also an HR Tech Advisor. I've been in the talent acquisition, recruiting tech space for, well, this will date me 25 years, and
I
mostly
thought you were 24,
I
Jeanette.
know.
I
Well,
thought you were
exactly. I
20.
started really young, like fresh, like let's go. But what's interesting is I started my career actually as a campus recruiter. And focused so much on high volume. Campus is a form of high volume. So, really excited to be here, part of College Recruiter. I've known, again, Stephen and the rest
Yeah.
of the team for, more than a minute. So
Yeah. And
excited to
you
talk
and
about the topic.
I think that you and I sort of like really met. I think our paths sort of crossed before, but you really met when you were at what was WCN, what became
Yes.
Olio, a talent marketplace platform. And then you were at AMS, the world's biggest RPO, leading the hourly product. So for those who don't know Jeanette, she has been on every side of the hiring desk. And also has a lot of expertise in AI, not the coding
Yeah.
kind, but the strategy and how to use it in a business environment, which is going to be great for College Recruiter as we roll out some of that. So,
Yeah.
well, cool. Why don't we dive into today's topic?
Let's
So
do it.
it's May. For those who aren't familiar with basically the university recruiting cycle in the Northern Hemisphere, which is most of the world's population.
Yep.
Um, the Most employers, when they're thinking of hiring students and recent grads, they immediately think about going on campus, career fairs, on
Yep.
campus interviewing, information sessions, whatever. We're not saying stop, but what we are saying is that when campuses let out, April, May, maybe June, depending on their search season, you can't
You
do
can't.
that.
They're not there.
Yeah, there's the campuses are closed, or it's like 10% of the students are there. The career service offices aren't having career fairs. There's not on-campus interviewing, whatever. So
Yeah.
if you're an employer and you just got a rec to hire 10 people, 100 people, whatever, and you're thinking students or recent grads are a good fit for that, do you just give up until
Right.
next September, October? What
Right.
do you do?
I mean, and that's a great point. Like, you can't put your business on hold. You need people. And so the students, again, they're not on campus. Many of them have gone home. A lot of my friends' kids are all home and they're looking for jobs. So it's a really interesting time period right now because you have a lot of really great early career candidates who are actively looking for summer jobs, full-time, part-time gig, but you can't get them on campus. You can't. So, I mean, we got to do what we did. I don't want to say like during COVID, but lockdown. It's like
That's a
virtually.
four.
I
That's a
know.
four-letter word.
So
It's five
you
actually,
got to
but
go digital. Like
yeah.
it's all about. And listen, everyone's used to being online, so it's all about how do you get to these candidates virtually,
Yeah.
and in a real, in my mind, in a way that connects them to your opportunity. Like, it's not just go through your career services, show up on campus. It's a whole different ball, but all virtual. So
Yeah.
go back.
And speaking of virtual, I mean, I think and COVID, right? So March of 2020, the world, well, North America, Europe and stuff had been shutting down earlier than
Yep.
that, but North America kind of shut down, schools closed, employers couldn't come on campus, and a lot of them still
Yeah.
wanted to hire interns. They were still in the midst of that
Right.
hiring. Some of them had already hired the students for internships, the recent grads for the entry level positions, and hey, they're supposed to show up in June. What do we do? And
Yes.
suddenly employers realize we can do this all virtually. Now, you're
Yeah.
going to miss some students, you're going to miss some schools,
Mhm.
but does that mean that you're going to miss out on hiring the people you need? No.
No.
You can reach the same or similar people in different ways. So, job boards like a college recruiter,
Absolutely.
LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, whatever, right? There are tons of great ones out there. And
Yeah.
there are other ways of reaching.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
even direct outreach, right? Like old-fashioned email, or I guess now like it'd be like old going paper, but like,
mhm.
getting out to the candidates that way. I think there's some interesting social media options as well. It's like go to the candidates directly and where you can like really personalize it, not be authentic.
Yeah, I love that. And it kind of reminds me too that there's this that I mean, we've been doing this for a few decades. And
Yeah.
there's always been in great labor markets, hot labor markets, soft labor markets, terrible labor markets, whatever. There's every single year there is this misconception that if you haven't hired the students by say the end of March, all the best ones are gone. And even if they're not, you can't reach them. So A, all the best ones are not gone.
They're not.
Some are,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
went on campus for an investment
Well,
bank
let
in
me tell you.
October, you hired those
Yeah.
people and now they're off the market. But
So
even then, some renege.
some of
Um,
that, but even like it's so interesting because what I think is like different candidates have different skill sets and there's different roles, right? So it's like how do you as your organization define what's best, right? Like
mm,
I was doing on, Wall Street, investment banking, recruiting. Okay, so we had our definition of that. Really different than I don't know, do you need to hire a ton of retail workers for this or lifeguards, right?
yeah.
Or maybe a marketing role or a tech role. Like defining best is very different for organization and even by job type. And so, what I see is some organizations go really early, right? The consulting companies, the investment bank, they're going early, they're scooping up their definition of best. But there's
Hmm.
all these other great candidates out there as well. And so that I think is part one. It's like it's not like some people say, "Oh, it's like a fruit stand, right? Oh, like all the apples have been picked over. There's only the fruit." Like, no, no, no. Like,
Which is actually okay if you want to buy bananas.
right. Or am I going to make applesauce and I don't care if it's bruised, right? Like, that's even better. Like, I actually wanted to go because they're softer or whatever, or whatever. So I think there's something really interesting there
Yeah.
around like they haven't been. Um, you know, again, what's your definition of
Yeah.
of best?
And one thing that I've heard consistently over the years too is that the best, the most highly sought after students and recent grads, they know that they're the most highly sought after. Now, I'm not talking arrogance,
Yeah.
right? But I'm talking, I'm a computer science major, getting good grades. I'm a TA assistant, and I go to Stanford. Like,
Hmm.
you know, the world is your oyster. You
Yeah.
do.
You do.
And it is. And it also means
Yeah.
that you do not have to take a job in October or February if you don't want to.
Right.
Maybe you want to enjoy your senior year
Mhm.
and take a few months off after graduation and backpack through Europe or,
Yeah.
whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
Or you're in a co-op kind of a position and you are working and you expect that to convert into a full-time position and then it doesn't.
Right.
I mean, there are
There's
millions of 20 million students and recent grads. There are 20
Yep,
million different stories. Um,
absolutely.
and so employers can reach these people within hours or days,
Mhm.
right? Through online platforms. You can go to a regular career fair. Like, just because somebody's a student doesn't mean that they're not searching Google, that they're not searching Indeed, that they're
Absolutely.
not going to a regular career fair at a hotel in the downtown, whatever. They look for jobs in a
In multiple ways.
variety of ways, multiple
Yeah,
ways, just like you would, just like I would.
exactly.
Be Yeah, just because we're
Yeah,
24 doesn't mean that we're,
exactly. That we're, like, tied to. I think the other thing, it's like thinking about your sources, right? Like sources of hire, right? Like you don't have to just go to the Stanfords of the world, right? Like there are
Yeah,
fantastic, great candidates, however you define best, all over the place. Maybe they've graduated and they've been working for a couple years, but they would be a perfect fit for what you're doing. Or again, they're like great top candidate at university of, oh, I haven't heard of that, like, but again, you can reach them in different ways. And so what's interesting is years ago, and I don't think I'm giving out like proprietary information, did a study at, again, I'm going back a million years ago to Lehman Brothers, which is now no longer, looking at, hey, is there a difference in performance between Ivy League
I'm
versus
so glad you went there, and
people who are not from Ivy League,
yeah.
right? And so you would think, right, based on, and there was like statistics. We had like the data analysts, like really the PhD who knew, like digging through all of it. There was no statistically significant difference.
Interesting.
There's
I
none.
can definitely understand if you're going to hire somebody, how hiring like a really highly sought after candidate from like New York University, when
Mhm.
you went to your boss and said, "Look at who I hired. She's awesome. She's an NYU grad."
Yeah,
That might be easier than saying, I hired somebody from ABC state
right.
school and blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't mean that the candidate
Yeah,
is act. So
yeah,
one thing I learned over the years, and I think the folks at Lockheed Martin told me against, because they had the same experience as
right,
you,
right.
is that a lot of it comes down to the productivity, right? It is how you want to measure that, and a
Yep.
lot of that is tenure. So students who go
Mhm.
to, say, call them second or third tier schools tend to stay with you for a lot longer than
Yeah,
the
it
students
doesn't
from the
surprise
top
me.
schools,
Yeah,
right? And so if somebody stays with you for a year versus somebody else for 5 years, who's going to be more productive?
right. Productive and like cost of replacement, right? We're talking about like what's the cost to
Yeah.
hire someone, and versus have someone stay with your organization.
Yeah.
Huge
So,
expense.
reach out to us,
Yep.
sales@collegerecruiter.com, or Jeanette or me directly. We'll connect you with the right person to talk about it.
Yeah.
We can be part of the solution to the problem.
Yeah.
Um,
Part of the process. I feel like
yes,
you're
part
about
of
to
the problem. I
say.
was about to say part of the problem,
I
and
know, I caught that. I was like, part of the process, right? And it's not like an all or nothing. Like, and
oh
I think
yeah,
that's the thing. There's so many different ways. But yeah, we're here to help. We know all about hiring early careers, know how to
awesome.
do it and help. Part of the
Well,
process.
exactly. Looking
Reach out
forward
to
to the
us.
June conversation. Anybody has any suggestions for what you want us to dig
Yeah,
into?
hit us up.
Reach out.
Definitely.
Cheers, Jeanette.
Take care, everyone.